get reparations. Goddamn, like, do I gotta go down the list? Like, the party's been racist for decades. It's okay. So typically, people talk about the when the parties switched, right? They switched platforms. This is well documented. The Southern strategy. You can look at all this, right? I always go back to 1968 when Jackie Robinson and a bunch of other Black Republicans saw the direction of the party because they saw the platform changing to being a platform that was about appealing to white Dixiecrats. Right?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Welcome to the Luke Show. We're going to start doing these shows more often. I know I've been off of live for a minute. But what we're doing is we're doing a simulcast on Twitter and all these other platforms right here. Today's topic is the Republican Party racist? Is the Republican Party racist? We're streaming live on YouTube, streaming live on Twitch. We're streaming live on Facebook Live. We're streaming live on X, which is former Twitter. So I'm happy that you guys are here. This is my first time doing this where I do a simulcast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking questions from you guys. A large part of the conversation will be taking place on my Twitter. If you're on Twitter, that's Uncle Luke Real One, and all through these platforms. So we're going to try and make this work. There's going to be some tweaking along the way, but some of you guys questions and comments that you may have on this topic, you say them on here as well. And then again, if you would like, you can go over to the Twitter, Uncle Luke Real One, and then you can log on there, and you could also talk on there. So we're going to rejoin the broadcast with people talking.
Replacement theory. Their bread is buttered on that side, right?
Can you hear them?
Look at what Charlie Kirk said yesterday. He's going after MLK. He's going after civil rights, right? You see a lot of this. You see them going after affirmative action and DEI programs. You see them obviously banning books and banning Black history and things of that nature. You see them not support things like the Black History Month and Juneteenth. I mean, I can go on and
so
on.
let me ask you, is there anything that the Republican Party, when you say the entire party, do you mean everybody in the Republican Party is racist? Like the entire party? Or is it certain individuals in the party that's racist?
Well, I never said the entire party, but essentially, if you stand with the party, whether you're Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, or anything like that, you stand for a party built on white supremacy and neo conservative and Confederate ideas, right? It was a video, so I'm not. Maybe
so let me ask you this: is Chris Christie racist, in your opinion?
In within himself, no, probably not. But I don't know him. I don't know what he could be saying different things on the back channel.
Is Ted Cruz racist?
I think Ted Cruz is, yes. But the question is, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me ask this question. Do they fight and speak out against the racism within their party?
That's the question. We'll get into that later. That is the question, I think, because a large part of the party, people don't speak out against racism. Hey, I'm gonna go on over because hold on. You went hard break. I'm gonna let Torian go, and then I'm gonna keep on rolling around, and then we're gonna let you come back again because we kind of went over the 1 minute and 30 seconds. Go ahead, Torian. What you got on this? Is the Republican Party racist?
Yes and no.
Oh shit!
And I gotta clarify that. Heartbreak said a minute ago about the switch that happened in the 1960s, so we got to give a little bit of that backstory, and I'm going to be real quick. When Johnson signed the Civil Rights Bill in 1964, At that time, the majority of black voters were voting Republican, but because Republicans tended to be the liberal party in America. The Democrats were basically entrenched in the South, and you also had the Dixiecrats. The minute that bill was signed, because Johnson was a Democrat, a lot of the Dixiecrats, the deep solid South people, the people who were aligned with George Wallace and Bull Connor, they immediately switched parties in the next election and went over to the Democrats. And the people who were progressive moved over into the, Republicans, and then the Republicans moved over, who were progressive, moved to the Democratic Party, and they took over both of those parties. That was the state of affairs until around the 1980s when the Southern strategy became popular based because of Lee Atwater. And if you don't know who Lee Atwater is, he was one of the most evil bastards who ever was a political strategist, but that's a whole nother conversation. And he realized that to be able to win elections, the Republican Party, which had been filled by Dixiecrats, had to start changing their language. They couldn't be over racist. So what they had to do was start using code words to be able to say the same. It was basically the way to say the N-word without having to say the N-word. So you start talking about crime. You start talking about poverty. You start talking about welfare queens and welfare mothers and showing Willie Horton, these sorts of things. So what happens with that is the tenor of the party gets driven by these racist, anti-black narratives that a lot of white people who are white conservative resonate with, and they push a lot of their candidates in the office, Ronald Reagan, and also on the state level. So I'm giving you all that to say this. I don't think the party itself as a body isn't necessarily racist per se, but the racists and the overt racists are driving the bus. Now, there are individual Republicans who are not racist, or they are not so racist to the point where black people can't work with them or they can't negotiate with them. But the people who control the narratives, the people who control the tenor of the party and the direction of the party, their messaging, their narrative, they're absolutely overt racist.
Okay, hey,
and I'll land.
Anybody want to rebut that? No? Okay. Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, we're broadcasting live over 3.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes. I was saying, anybody want to rebut that? Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're broadcasting live over 3 platforms: the Twitter live, YouTube, Facebook, 3 different Facebook pages, and Twitch. So this is a great topic right here. We got some great people. We got some people who are online, and they have some great things that they're trying to that they're saying too. This is the first time I ever did this simulcast, both sides in one. I'm gonna work it out some kind of way. I'm gonna work it out, but it's a great way to pass this information, because we have these great conversations on Twitter with some very intellectual people with some very intellectual takes on it, no different than we have folks on these other platforms with some great takes on it. This is a beautiful thing. Some folks on Facebook Live and Twitter, y'all asking how to speak. You can always go to my Uncle Luke Real One Twitter, and you can get on there and actually speak. All right. We are going to who we have next. LTO. LTO is on you.
I appreciate you for letting me speak. I would say, to answer your question, I would say that the majority, the Republican Party's leaders, the ones with the prominent voices, especially ever since, I would probably say, since Trump started having a voice in the party, I would say that those are, I think that they're racist. You got people like MTG. I think that she's using the Christian nationalism as a cover for white nationalism. To me, it's kind of plain to see. It's common sense. Even in our state of Florida, Ron DeSantis, like you mentioned earlier, trying to fight what he calls critical race theory, banning Black history. And we've seen that happen in other states, other Republican controlled states around the country. They're trying to push some of the same narratives. And then I seen on the news today where Nikki Haley mentioned that America has never been racist. So I think, in my opinion, it seems like they're trying to diminish the importance of Black history because it seems to me like they're trying to whitewash everything. So yeah, I would say right now the current Republican Party, the leaders, they they come off as racist to me. And I'll draw.
Okay, let me say this. That's a great take. So, if the Republican Party is and the entire party is racist, I know some of you guys said only a few people, but if you want to say the entire party is racist, how do you explain the Chris Christies of the world, the Marco Rubios of the world? Are they racist because of certain policies that, are they racist because they won't put a bill before Congress or the Senate or anybody on reparations? Does that make them racist? Do that make them racist because they don't put that bill? Do that make them racist because they did not support the George Floyd bill? Does that make them racist, or does that make them protecting their guns and the people who put money into their campaign? I mean, what makes them racist? Who do we have next?
I can't raise my hand, Uncle Luke, because I'm on a desktop, a laptop. So I'll just, whenever you get a chance, just come to me.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Okay, DP, it's on you, DP. And then it's going to go to Mark, and then from Mark Carter, then it'll go to Cole. Go ahead, DP.
Yeah, shout out to Terrain. He broke it down brilliantly. I think as a collective, I mean, to me, I feel like both parties are racist. But if we had the choice.
Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. We have a simulcast going on right here. Where I'm on Twitter. That's Uncle Luke Real One, and we're talking about, is the Republican Party racist? That is the question. So I'm going to talk to you guys, and then I'll bring these guys back in where they'll be able to have their little conversation, and you can hear what they have to say as well on here. But I want to talk to y'all because I don't want to have y'all just hanging and shit. Ben says something right here. Ben, yeah, Joe Biden has done the most racist shit out of those names. A lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel like Joe Biden did some racist shit. Elaborate, Ben. Tell me why you think Joe Biden did some racist shit. Here it is. DeSantis did not ban Black history. That's just false. And I don't think so, young lady. I think DeSantis did ban Black history. When he pointed out certain books of Black history, I mean, and when he talked about old little white kids shouldn't feel uncomfortable because y'all talking about Black history, that is banning Black history. That is attacking Black history. And when you go and you tell your legislators who are predominantly Republican that you want these things taken out of schools, then that is banning Black history, I would think. They're all racist to me. At the end of the day, that's what Tony said. Tony said everybody was fucking racist. Wow, that's amazing.
So we'll go to Mark. Okay, we'll go to DP.
Quick question, Terrain. I seen some people that had their thumbs down. I don't know if they was on stage or not, but if they did, I wouldn't mind hearing their rebuttal.
Well, I guess we'll just go by the rules that Luke said. We'll, like, if anybody wants to rebut, put their hand up, and we'll let you respond. But until I see that, we'll just go through the hands that are up now, and then we'll swing back around if anybody has anything to say. So we'll go to Mark. Then
Before we go to Mark from Facebook Live, we have quite a few people on here, like Deshaun Lorenzo said, DeSantis is not racist. He did not ban Black history. That's just false. That's her opinion. She also said certain books, and then you have other folks say all of them are racist. Ben said, yet Joe Biden has done the most racist shit out of all of them to Black people. These are the comments that are coming in from from Facebook and YouTube Live. I think you probably see these comments on there. You know, so a lot of people got real strong opinions about, you know, who's racist and what is racist and whether the Republican Party is racist. Who we got up next?
We got Mark, then we'll swing to DP and then TN. So Mark Carter has the mic.
So yeah, look, let me start by saying this. If we make every decision we make, first off, based off race, then we would be agreeing with nothing, right? So when it comes to the Republican Party, if they are, who gives a damn? If the Democrats are racist, who gives a damn? This is about resources. That's what it's about. Now, when you look in different regions, for y'all in the South, y'all may deal with the racist Republicans in position. In the North, we deal with the racist Democrats that are in position. But men don't worry about nothing like that. But let's look at 3 Democrat presidents for the first 2 years. They had the House, the Senate, and the White House, and did absolutely nothing on a large scale for black people. Clinton, Barack Obama, no, 4 to be exact. Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and I said Clinton. Neither one of them did anything significant for black people in America. And so if you talk about racism, welfare reform and NAFTA, that's even worse than the crime bill when it comes to a Joe Biden. And then his relationship with Strom Thurmond, Arlen Specter, and all those guys like that. If you can see how racist Republicans and Trump is, then what are you just going to deliberately cover your eyes when it comes to Joe Biden? But again, who gives a damn about whether people are racist or not? And then you talk about Black history. When has Black history ever been taught in schools in America? Never. You get Black studies, maybe at the time you reach your college level, but in local high schools and elementary schools, you're not getting no damn Black history. Stop acting like they stopped some shit that never was. And again, if you make your decisions based off racism or who's racist and things like that, you wouldn't be voting for nobody, if you be honest with yourself.
Is there anybody want to rebut what Mr. Carter said?
I would too. Like I said, I can't raise my hand because I'm on the laptop. So whenever you get a chance.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I just want to say, I just think what he said about education is false. I mean, I remember learning about Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, Frederick D. Douglass, as a child in grammar school and things like that. But I do agree that, it wasn't a lot of it, they didn't teach us a lot of it. But I believe that, the white man's history is all bullshit. It's all fake. It's all hyperbole. And the Republican Party, the entire party is racist, and anyone who votes Republican is racist. After what we've seen the last 4 years, the 4 years with Trump, we know this to be true. And the problem is we're stuck because we got to pick one of these groups, and they're both racist. And so, that's the problem. I was in a party with Robbie last night, and that's what, we were discussing. So I don't know where we go from there, but that's what I have. That's all.
I like to rebut too, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, see, I mean,
You dangerous painting a collective there, Uncle Jake, by the way.
What was I painting?
You don't paint a whole entire group one thing just because you believe that. That is dangerous.
Man, listen, any person any Republican I've ever come across, bro, is racist.
Well, then you ain't met a lot of them then.
Well, then I guess I have.
Super dangerous to say collectives like that, bro. Super dangerous.
Take that up with yourself. Luke gave me this time to speak. Thank you.
He said we could rebuttal, so go ahead.
If you can rebut me, yes. Once I'm finished, thank you. Because I wanted to rebut some of the points that Mark was making. Please bear with me because I am driving. I have to be somewhere.
Okay, we don't want you to kill yourself now. Just drive. Just arrive alive. Go ahead.
I pay attention, bro. But it's like as soon as you talk about the party being racist, the dude is like, well, so what? It don't matter. This, that, and third, and then pivots to talking about the Democrats. And then he tells lies like NAFTA was started by Democrats, which has been proven to be false. That was started by George H.W. Bush, and Reagan before him had negotiated that. He talks about he talks about Black history. Black history was taught in my schools. If I'm not mistaken, AP African American history was taught in Florida before DeSantis decided to get rid of it because he said it wasn't essential enough. He talked about resources, and that's a great point because when you talk about resources, you talk about the fact that especially in where Black people are that live in red states, you deal with a issue of resources being stripped. Now, I can't speak to that. There aren't racist Democrats in local cities like New York, Chicago, LA. I get that. But if we're going to sit here and not say that the party apparatus of the Republican Party is not racist, then we're just lying on our face. Because they could have made inroads with the Black community, they've gone the other direction in their rhetoric, with white replacement theory and banning of CRT in our books and things of that nature, talking about Martin Luther King. Like, these are things that we're just supposed to ignore. And when you bring up, and last point, okay, we get it. Strom Thurmond was racist. We get it. Robert Byrd was once a grand wizard for the KKK. But if you're not going to talk about the fact that Biden was one of the men that led them to vote on the Civil Rights Act in 1991, then you're not telling the whole story, right? Be accurate when you saying all this stuff, because
what I'm saying is that all of them are racist, no different than we some racist motherfuckers. So I don't care about no racism. You deal with racism with racism. You deal with supremacy. You don't cry about it. Maybe that's what girly men do. Girly men cry about that, but for
hold on, somebody's off. Hold on. Somebody's off the mic. There's a lot of feedback and nobody can hear each other.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're simulcasting live here on my Twitter Live. I do these spaces on Twitter where we have these deep conversations, and I figured, what would be a great way to start back the new year and doing my live broadcasts on here by bringing these good folks in to the actual conversation right here live on Facebook and YouTube on our YouTube channel from the Twitter channel. But at the same time, it gets wild. Trust me, it gets wild in that group. So bear with it. I'll come back over here every now and then, and I'll let you guys listen to the conversation because it goes on and on and on. I have co-hosts and hosts and things like that. Calvin Brown, great comment. Calvin, you can read what Calvin said. Only in the United States can a man still run for president of the United States and be charged and indicted for several charges him being charged with. Is that on the topic of whether or not America is racist? Is America racist or not? I don't know. But at the same time, that is interesting. Only in America a man can go and run for office because he was charged. Riri said earlier, she said earlier, I learned Black history in schools. I learned Black history in schools as well. So a lot of times you'll hear a lot of people make comments because they're supporting parties. And at the end of the day, they're just party pushers. That's what I call them, party pushers, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. I just think my whole thing is this right here. And I saw somebody say it up here earlier, it's an individual thing, at the end of the day. I go to City of Miami Commission meetings, and then I talk to good folks down there at the City of Miami Commission meeting, and most of them are Republicans to get things done for the people of my community of Liberty City and Overtown. They're Republicans. I got to work with them. I mean, they hold seats in areas in Miami-Dade County, and they hold votes. And in order to get things done in your community, you're gonna need the majority of the votes. And if you don't, if you sit there and you scream, "Oh, everybody's racist, all Republicans are racist," then you will never get anything done. Unfortunately, is the party racist? There's a young lady, Deshaun. My child is in Florida schools and is taught Black history. The books removed or banned is either pushing gay agenda or CRT. CRT is what? Deshaun, what is CRT? Critical race theory. Critical race theory. That is what it is. Critical race theory. Tony says, hey, look here, man, you got to go to blackfacts.com. Go to blackfacts.com. Listen, is the party racist? A lot of things that they do can be considered racist. Are they for themselves? That's what the question becomes. Do they have an agenda? Do they have a party platform and they say, we're going to follow our platform? Our platform is for the people who vote for us. The people who vote for us is white. Our platform is white. Can you fault them for doing white things for white people? We like our guns, white people. We're going to vote for our guns. You ain't going to fuck with our guns. Will we try y'all and say, we don't want our little white kids feeling some kind of way in school? They'll try you. If they run the state, if you sat on your ass and they went out and vote, they're going to try you with certain things, going to try to take certain rights away. Is that them being racist? Or is that them being racist? Or is that them saying, we went out and voted and these are the things that we want to have done? I'm going to go back to the program that's going on Twitter and the conversation that y'all guys listening.
For action, which is to give the country over to the immigrant population. And so why would we vote for a party that's clearly engaging in replacement theory? No, replacement fact. Replacement fact.
Okay, go ahead and land. I'll give Heartbreaker. I'll let Heartbreaker respond, and then we'll go ahead.
So again, I mean, put your facts in the jumbotron, right? Because you say a lot of stuff that you don't substantiate with facts. You're the one that said in Spaces that you like white racist Republicans. That came out of your mouth.
So I said I will work with them.
No.
I said I will work with them. Get it right now.
I heard you. You're the one who said that Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, was busing migrants into Black areas in your city. That crisis is a crisis that was created by Republicans, and you want to reward these racist ass Republicans that you say that you like by voting for them.
I said I will work with them. I don't like no politician.
Because I can go.
I didn't say I like nobody. I said I work with them. We'll work with them.
Sir, if we're gonna have a back and forth, I'll let you go. Let me go. Right? You said it out your mouth that yes, you like, because you said basically, and I'm trying to be word for word, but I might be off a little bit. But you said that was the way to get Black folks to not support the Democratic Party in your city. So you was okay with using Black people as collateral in your city by these fucking racist ass Republicans that you like to try to paint the Democrats as being the problem in your city. That's some sick ass shit, my nigga.
Okay, so
all right. So we gonna all right. Now we gonna move on from that. Y'all made your points several times over, so we gonna let other people speak. If you want to come back around and visit it later, we'll do that, but we're getting too deep into these weeds, so let's move on. All right, DP. The cable. I think it's the cable guy I can't see. You got the microphone. Is the Republican Party racist? And then give your point of view. Wait for the double mute to go off. Got to keep this train rolling. DP the cable.
Okay, yeah. Can you hear me good?
Let's go, DP. Yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
sir.
hold on,
Okay.
DP. Hold on, DP. Before you go again, ladies and gentlemen, we're broadcasting over 3 networks right here. We have we're in man, I'm lost for words here because I got so much shit going on right now. We're over here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter live. We're having a conversation, ladies and gentlemen, about whether or not the Republican Party is racist. It's a real good conversation. The ladies on Facebook Live say y'all funny on Twitter. You just the beginning, Miss Lopez. Go ahead, my brother. It's on you.
Oh yeah, but nah, I think I answered it earlier, but I'll say it again. Yeah, they definitely are racist, just like the Democrat Party, like the whole fabric of America is based on the whole racist system. They do beef and argue, but they get on code when it's against black people. But I don't. It's hard to actually. I do consider voting for them because I can never see me ever voting for Democrats in my lifetime. But it's the racist rhetoric that throws me off. I can't. I'm offended constantly anytime I hear Republicans speak, especially in terms of when it's about my people, because I do understand dog whistle terms. But yeah. So
let me ask y'all something. If everybody in the Republican Party is racist, there are black people in the Republican Party too. So do you guys consider them as racist too?
Yes, Uncle Tom.
They stand for white supremacy. Like they do the bidding for the white supremacists.
Absolutely, yeah.
On both sides, Democrats too. That's why I don't look at the Democrats no different.
But why do y'all minimize the role that black people play? They're not doing no damn business. They on the same page with these people when they do shit. They're not less than them.
Yeah, I agree.
Why don't y'all get that? These black people are just as racist as some of these white folks are. But who gives a fuck? You deal with it.
Yeah, well, a lot of black people enjoy, like they kind of live for being the unique or elite status of black people. They move out. They move to certain areas and would move again if they see black people moving into the same areas right behind them, type of thing. Like that's a that's a consciousness. I mean, every culture has that type of class.
Who we got next, Torian? Who we got next? Great topic. I know, Torian. Who we got next? I guess
we got a TN Suave.
Suave. It's on
What's
you.
Up? Got my boy Uncle Lou, baby.
Hey, how you doing, TN Suave? Let's go, man. This is good. This is good conversation. We on all these platforms right now. Everybody enjoying it. They're having a good time. Let's go. What you got? Is the Republican Party racist?
Let me go ahead and plug. I need to do another Miami Cane space with you. That one was too drippy. I appreciated that. Thank you.
I'm there. Just hit me. Let me know I'm there.
Really, Luke, mine is just a message of unity. You know, I look at this and I see the color. You know, I read the color red. I read the color blue. You know, I see the word Democrat. I see the word Republican. To me, it's a smokescreen. I think it's a microscopic issue that needs to be broadened out to the world stage of what's going on around us. And I don't know if y'all are looking around and seeing, but they still got us squabbling over this. And I'm not going to call it bullshit because people have real feelings. They have real experiences. They've gone through real things. And I'm not here to discredit that. I just feel like as a grown man who's gone through life, I don't consider myself a Republican at this day and age. That term is dirty to me. The word Democrat's dirty to me. I'm a patriot, Uncle Luke. And I just feel like I need to give a message of unity out in this space. And I'm not here to say that anyone else is not. I feel like you're trying to do that. But for me, I'm literally sitting in the Dominican Republic right now. I literally just crossed the border from Haiti doing some charity work. I've been here about 12 or 13 times helping Dominican and Haitian kids. You can't find a kid down here that likes the Clintons. You can't find one. Can't find a family down here that supports the Clintons or the Obamas. They hate them. They robbed money from them. They took from them. They murdered them. They stole their children. I'm down here on the front line, dude. And I'm not here to say that Republicans aren't racist. Look, the whole Bush family is racist. Let's just be real. Jeb Bush, George Bush Sr. I voted for the last one because I was old enough to vote for him. I'm ashamed of it, but it is what it is. I didn't know that at the time. Internet, all this other stuff came out, and you learn, you try to become an adult, mature, you correct mistakes that you see that you made as you went along life. I didn't know that he was like that when I voted for him. I was just doing what my parents asked me to do. Just, if I'm being honest. But the more I learned, the more I read about him, the more I learned about his family and how evil that they were, I absolutely believe that the Bush family's racist. just being fair and even about it. I think Mitch McConnell's racist. If you want to know the truth, I think the Pelosi family is racist. But again, I'm down here in Haiti with a bunch of poor third world black kids who literally, if the Clinton family was literally dropped here on a helicopter, they'd hang them in 30 seconds.
Really?
So again, I'm dead serious, bro. They fuck these people over something fierce, dog. Really, really bad. You can't find a Haitian family. You can't find one. So again, I think there's wolves in sheep's clothing in both of these parties. It's in both of them. And again, look at some of you remember what was that game that a couple of them went to a few years ago? It was the LSU.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're broadcasting both on Twitter, on all these social media platforms. This is the first time I ever did this. Talking about is the Republican Party racist? I'm gonna start back getting into having these political conversations. I'm gonna start bringing on some politicians as well to get on here and talk about these different topics. We're broadcasting obviously live on Twitter, having a live conversation debate amongst good folks. If you want to speak on Twitter, you can go to my Twitter page, Uncle Luke Real One, and go on there and click the button saying that you want to go up and speak. But if you want to chill here and listen, every now and then I'll come in, break in, and we'll just, have a conversation amongst each other. Young man mentioned right here, Wilson said, Republicans not shutting down Goombay. I don't know. Did they shut it down? I don't know the story of who shut it down or not. Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, the conversation is the Republican Party. Racist? And what's your take on it? What is your take on it? I think personally, it is a racist situation. A lot of things that some people in the Republican Party do is racist. I mean, the things that come out of Ted Cruz's mouth is racist. The things that come out of Ron DeSantis' mouth, in my opinion, is racist. Trump, I don't know if I hear too much racist coming out of Trump. I think Trump stays down his party line and he tries to be friends with everybody. One could say he's racist because of his policy. And I think that's the fine line, because of your policies. Or because of your policies, does that make you racist? Hey, some argue that Joe Biden is racist, because of some of the policies in which he supported when he was a senator. Listen, are you racist because you just don't like black people? You want to see all black people, you do everything in your power to destroy the black family and the black man. Is that the case? Ben says on here, wasn't Barack Obama supposed to shut down Guantanamo Bay? I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. Was he supposed to shut down Guantanamo Bay? I don't think Guantanamo Bay would ever have been shut down, because Guantanamo Bay is a military base, an island in which the United States government owns in Cuba, and the United States government has to have a presence in Cuba because Cuba is affiliated with Russia. So to shut down the entire base in Cuba and not have a presence there because of a possible threat of Cuba being a possible threat, that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. All right. That's never going to happen. So they're not going to shut down. Frederick, good evening, Luke. How are you this evening? I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm having a good time. Hey, man, we're doing something I never did before, which is broadcast over 3 different channels, platforms, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitch, and X, formerly known as Twitter, which is a great conversation that we're having on all 3 platforms. And I'm going to bring these good folks on Twitter back in here because, again, like I say, they're having some great dialogue, just like you guys on here are having great dialogue Now that's real info. I thank you, Eric. Here we
That's
go.
what Dr. Claude Anderson says. What I say is it depends on the time period. Now, in our current zeitgeist, the Republican Party does lean towards racist ideology. That's just a fact. However, I would also say that I don't think any party is helping my foundational Black brothers and sisters. I think Dr. Claude Anderson hit the nail on the head. I'm going to end on this note. Dr. Anderson said Blacks do not vote solely for a good government. He says, David, I'm going to say we vote for candidates who we think will bring proportionate returns. We look at who's trying to help us, which is a sign of intelligence. You know, we need to look at what we're going to get out of a politician.
Let me
ask you something about that though, because I've heard that, and that conversation's floating around a lot of political spaces now. We just saw the interview that Tiffany Cross did with Joy Reid, where they talked about a lot of times Black people collectively vote not because they like a candidate, but because of harm reduction. Mm-hmm. And somebody else who was in the space a minute ago raised the point that a lot of times people who are in a certain tax bracket vote the way they vote because it's good for their personal economy. Let me ask you about Black people voting as a collective. Do you think that we vote along class lines when it comes to who we decide to vote for, or do we vote thinking of what that would do for us as a collective or an individual? Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, my thoughts on that, I wouldn't say class lines. I would stay away from that. Although I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and Birmingham, Alabama is one of the few places in the country that actually had a Black upper middle class, which is disastrous. It's not as cool as it sounds, but that's not the point. The point is, I wouldn't say we vote on class lines. I would say historically we have voted on fear lines, on lines of what could happen. Oh Lord, if we don't vote for him, what's going to happen to us? I think that's my view on our motivation.
And that's what the major problem is right there. What he just said.
No, let him finish his point. Let him finish his point. We ain't gonna do that. Let him finish his point. Go ahead, Professor. You said Alon, yes, right? I don't want to butcher it.
It's Alon, but I've been called Alan my whole life. You're not hurting my life. You're not hurting me. But yes, I think, and I'm being general. Of course, there are riders like I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. I have riders who was never scared. You know what I'm saying? Who fought back during the Birmingham riots and the civil rights movement that the news never covered. But I'm saying generally, I think we vote on lines of maybe fear is too extreme a word, but we vote.
Hey, can you speak on the Birmingham riots?
Hold on. Let him finish, please. Let him finish. Don't cut it across.
Yes, sir. I think fear in the past, fear has been a huge motivation with my parents. My parents are baby boomers. And the baby boomers failed us. Really, they failed us, man. I'm a early millennial, right on the line of Z and millennial, but I mean not Z, X. But yes. So I think we're suffering. We're in a kind of like a algorithm, or we're stuck in the decisions made by the baby boomers, and the baby boomers voted on fear lines, fear and pseudo. And let me make sure I say pseudo one more time. Pseudo moral lines. I wrote a book. You can click on Our Story Publications that talks about how the Black church was infiltrated by generations of traders who misaligned religious ideology to poison the baby boomers. So I'm not going to touch on that. But yeah, fear and pseudo moralism, if that's clear.
Yeah, it makes sense to me, but can you get a little bit into pseudo-moralism before we move to the next speaker? Because I want you to expound on
pseudo-moralism. Now, hey, Professor, you taking me to college right now. I mean,
that's my term.
Professor, you can't be saying pseudo-moralism and then leave up out of here and say, okay, now you're done.
For real.
No, you gotta have to elaborate on what is pseudo-moralism. It's gonna be my first thing I learned this year. Go ahead, Professor.
Hey Lou, that's like that line on Fresh Prince when China List was like, that's a school word.
Yeah, SAT. Is this in there? Yeah. Come on, Doc. Come on, Professor. Pseudo-moralism.
Pseudo-moralism. So, and I put this in my book. If you click on our stories, you can. I got a workbook for the Black family for homeschooling. It talks about all of this. But to answer your question, during the during the transatlantic slave trade, white slave masters would select a pastor who usually served as a stud as well, but which makes sense if you think about it now. But he selects somebody to be a pastor, and he gave this pastor of the Black church, and he gave this pastor select quotes out of the King James Version of the Bible that would be used to program the minds of our elders. Slaves obey your masters is one of them. Her hair is her glory. That's another one. These lines out of the KJV Bible made over time kind of justified filth, justified the slave trade. And so what I'm arguing is, if you look at certain branches of the Black church in America, pastors have been picked based upon lineage. So in my home state, Alabama, if you follow some of these pastors back 10 generations, you're going back into the at least Jim Crow era. So they're still following the same protocols that kind of brainwashed the baby boomers and the generation before them to telling us, child, just pray about it. Everything's going to be all right. Well, the Bible didn't necessarily say that. And I'm not a theologian, so don't get me wrong, but I'm speaking common sense. The baby boomers sold us out. That's just, I hate to say that, but it's true. The baby boomers sold us out because they had an opportunity. The golden generation, Dr. King's generation, straight died for us. They said, you know what? Enough with the bull crap. Malcolm X, Dr. King, Medgar Evers, so many unsung heroes died. And we've still got a couple riders alive, like Dr. Claude Anderson. These people put everything on the line for us, for the baby boomers. And the baby boomers, it used to be a movie when I was a kid in the 80s called I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. And and I'm Gonna Get You Sucker is a scene that encapsulates my idea, or what I'm trying to say. Like, you remember the scene in I'm Gonna Get You Sucker when they said, what happened to the movement? What happened? And he said, government jobs. Like, that really happened. Like, our parents, the baby boomers, got opportunities to go to law school. They never go to Yale Law, get all these government jobs, go to medical school, stuff that never happened before. And it was up to them to keep that going for me. But I was told by so many baby boomers, family and non-family, is you got to make a way. I made a way. No, you didn't make a way. King made a way. So we were sold out, my friend.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened to us, because our grandparents didn't tell us that backward shit. And so those of us 50 and over, we know what you're saying is exactly what happened. And when they let them fools come downtown, mentally they have never come back to the community to do nothing but lay down and sleep. They haven't built shit. They don't own shit. All they want to do is rent and go back downtown and smile with white folks and shit. And so that's where you hear a lot of this liberal talking points, this progressive shit, coming from these people. That's all you hear all over again from these young millennials and not the Gen Zers, but the millennials. They're picking up on the same baby boomer rhetoric, and we're gonna look. They're gonna crash and burn. I'll just leave it at that.
Torian, who do we have next?
We got Active 5 Press coming up, and then Robbie Blue.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we get to him, I know there's a lot of people down there that want to speak, and you're in the speakers. You request if you have spoken and you don't have anything else on the topic, you can go back down, and you could always come back up. We want to bring some new speakers.
People out.
We want to bring some new speakers up. I'll probably find another co-host to then be able to open up another spot, but for the most part, like I say, we're simulcasting both parts here on two sides of this. All three of these platforms, we have a good conversation online, on Facebook, and on Twitch and YouTube. We're having a great conversation there. Great conversation on Twitter. Go ahead. Who we got next?
Active 5 Press. Active 5 Press has the mic.
Active 5 Press.
Hey, how y'all doing? Hope everybody's doing okay.
Fantastic.
Enjoying the weather. So just some really quick things. I heard people talking about how the parties realigned earlier in the conversation, and I don't know if anybody had covered that's a minor realignment that happened, which it was minor in scope, but it impacted us a lot when the DLC took over the DNC. That was Coke funded. The Dixiecrats came to town. I don't know if y'all covered that. Y'all can look that up, but it's really instructive on how where the Democratic Party is now, because they moved away from civil rights and moved away from labor and moved toward the corporate side. But
hey, Agnified Press, the question is the Republican Party Party racist?
Absolutely.
What makes that party racist? What have they done to make you feel like the Republican Party is racist? What have they done?
It's mostly, well, a lot of it is they're talking.
Is it my thing? Let me ask you. Let me back up. Is it because of their policy? And again, different parties have different policies. Are they considered racist because of their policy? Let's look at it. Majority white people vote for Republicans. When you look at the numbers, so should they be considered as racist because they're just feeding their base, the people who vote for them? Do we consider them as racist? Should white people feel like the Democratic Party is racist? Those same white people who vote Republican. What makes the party? What are they doing that makes them racist? Is it is it because they're just catering to their constituents? Their constituents is white people. And because they all have everything that they're trying to pass is for white people and not necessarily black people, because black people don't vote for them and they don't vibe with them. Does that make them racist or not?
Well, I don't know if that's what makes them racist, but the policies are intended to be exclusionary towards us.
Give me a couple of them.
Shit, I can't think of nothing off the top of my head.
Couple policies. Now, mind you, keep in mind, I'm a Democrat. I'm a card-carrying Democrat, people. I'm just asking the question. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I want to know, because, people say, the party is racist. Then the first thing, a lot of people say, well, some of the policies are racist. Like for me, Ron DeSantis, in my opinion, is racist. Some of the things, the attacks that he's had on African Americans is consistent. Hey, look, when we protest, he then says, we're going to create new law of stopping people from protesting, but then yet still the Cuban folks go out there and do the same protest a month later, and he don't enforce the same law that he really put in effect to stop black folks from protesting. Then, you have CRT, critical race theory. He goes after banning books and banning Black history. That to me is racist shit. That to me is race. Again, I communicate a lot with Republicans. The majority of the things that I get done in my community, millions and millions of dollars, is voted on by Republicans, unfortunately. Because Democrats hold only a couple seats. They'll champion the bill. They'll put the bill forth, and a lot of times Republicans bring forth the bill for me to get these changes within our community. So I can't say the whole party racist. Ted Cruz and all them fucking people and Strom Thurmond and all them, the shit that comes out their mouth is, to me, in my opinion, is fucking racist. But again, that's why I want people to point out things that have made them feel like the party is racist, other than us just saying, yeah, all the motherfuckers racist.
I understand, and those things you pointed out are correct. The CRT fight, but on the left, the far left, they went after Afro pessimism. We were kind of surrounded in that regard, and the Democrats, they blew it when it came to defending CRT. They really blew it. They should have stood on it and told him it's based in fact and based on the history of this country, and we're going to stand on it, and you're not going to use that term to erase Black history. And boy, in any event, another thing I wanted to touch on was the fact that earlier you guys talked about that realignment piece. If we understand that realignment happened, and we understand that at this point, at all those realignments happen, at this point, we have to be completely self-interested in our votes, right? But in order to exercise political power, you have to be able to exact a cost for not doing what you want. And that goes to what Mark is doing, right? If you can't exact the costs for getting for a party not doing what you want, then you don't really have power. You're just a puppet, right? You either vote for this party or sit out. You see what I mean? You have to be able to exercise power to wipe somebody out if they mess you over. And if you don't have that, and if people tell you not to exercise that, they're kind of taking away your political power, your true political power.
We're going to rejoin the Twitter broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, like I say, we're having this conversation on all three of my platforms. This is the first time I ever did this, where we're talking about a political topic, hot topic. That was brought on by one of the Fox hosts that asked Nikki Haley, was the party racist? And she kind of fumbled with whether or not the Republican Party is racist. So that's my question to everybody today. Is the Republican Party racist? And if you feel that way, what is your opinion? 26 midterms 2 years ago, Republicans will keep Florida red. Strong candidates come out of Florida, flip blue, likely rename red. Okay, yes. Dorset, I agree. I agree. I mean, there's basically no pathway, and I hate to say there's no pathway of flipping Florida Senate and House into being Democrat. But there is always a pathway of the parties of the state turning blue or purple. Barack Obama turned the state blue. That's how he won. Al Gore came this close in turning the state blue, and he almost won, and that's when they had the whole Chad thing going on. But at the end of the day, if people get out and vote, one thing about African Americans, I know if there's a candidate that they want to support, they'll get out and vote. It won't be just the traditional people going out and voting. At the same time, we have to look at this in its all totality. I mean, if you lose a race, and there's a Republican president, or there's a Republican state representative, or there's a Republican person that's in the that won the race in the House or the Senate or Congress or school board member or whatever it is, you still got to work with that person. You still got to work with that person to get some things done. You're not going to be able to get no things done if you don't work with that person. If Donald Trump wins the presidency right now, you can't just say fuck it for 4 years and be mad because he won. You can't do that. That's just impossible for you to be able to get some things done. You got to be able to say, okay, hey Trump, I need some things right here. But what happens with us, we have a tendency of getting in our feelings when we lose, and that is not the right thing to do. That is not the right thing to do. And so the right thing to do is to be able to go and have a professional run at it. If your candidate lose, I mean, don't go too far off of making it too personal, because if you make it too personal, then that person who was elected is not going to be able to work with you. And see, a lot of white organizations, you know what they do? They'll donate money to both candidates. They'll donate money to both candidates. Best man win. I donated money over here, donated money over here. And so that's a whole nother part of the political process that we don't understand as African Americans. It's money talk in the bullshit walk. At the end of the day, it's about money. It's about money. It's about putting money on your candidate. These candidates need money. If you have a black candidate and some white special interest groups are pouring money into your black candidate's campaign, 9 times out of 10, your black candidate is going to be subjected to doing some things that those white folks put into their campaign. It's the only way he won. So he got to, hey, look, you know, you own a milk company. And we have a $5 million milk contract that'll be coming up in the school board. And that milk company then puts money into your campaign because you want to be school board member. That milk company lobbyist is going to come back and say, hey, look here, man, you remember when my milk company put $5,000 into your campaign? Yeah, we want that milk contract. And that's how it works. And then we sit back and say, well, I got a black milk company, and why I didn't get the contract, and they give more contracts to the white peoples and the Cuban peoples, and we don't get any contracts. Unfortunately, that's how it works. That's the game. That's the game. They're racist. But we won't call the person, the African American who gave the contract away. No, they're playing a game. We have to understand there's a game being played. These candidates need money in order to win a race. They have other candidates running against them. Those candidates have money from special interest groups. That's what they call special interest group. What is your special interest? I want the light bulb contract in the city of Miami. The light bulb contract of being able to replace all light bulbs in the city of Miami probably worth $10 million. If I want the light bulb contract, what am I going to do? The guy's running for mayor. He's going to call up and mayor's going to have a fundraiser. Light bulb company is going to call up and say, look, I need to be a part of that fundraiser. I need to, hey, we're going to raise $5,000 to put into that mayor's campaign. So when the light bulb contract comes up, who you think getting ready to get that motherfucker? Light bulb company who put the $5,000 into that campaign. Then they have such a thing called a PAC. I got a campaign. You can make campaign donations, then you can make donations to my PAC. The PAC is unlimited. That's big money. That's big business. Then you have the campaign. So the campaign normally is limited about a certain amount. Some are $1,000, some are $500, but then the PAC is unlimited. So when you playing big boss business, you put money in the campaign and you throw money into the PAC. That's why you see most PACs have most of the money. Big business. Are we playing ball like that? Are we really playing ball like that? That's how shit get done. So then you say, well, the black community is all the Hispanics are working the construction in the black community and they're taking over and they're gentrifying the neighborhood and all these things because those people put money into the black candidate campaign to sell the neighborhoods for them to get all of the contracts. That is what happened, people, unfortunately. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is how it works. We get federal judges. Barack Obama go in. You mainly vote for presidents to get federal funding and federal judges put in. So when federal policies take place, then you win federal cases and federal policies are put in place to bring federal dollars down. Our candidates ain't brought shit down here. I'm just going to keep it 100. I ain't seen no money. They have a big ass check that they carry. Everybody else had a big check. The Congress people and the senators. Well, we don't have a senator, a Democratic senator, so we don't expect shit. And by the way, my brother is running for Senate in the state of Florida. And the Congress people, I don't see no money. And then they'll say, oh, we brought money into the state, but then Ron DeSantis held the money up. But what the fuck did you do to go after Ron DeSantis so he don't hold the money up? He racist. You can't sit on the side and be talking about people racist. You got to put your big boy shoes on and be like, yeah, I know you're the fucking governor, but at the end of the day, I need my money. because you want to run for a higher office too. So then if you gonna tell me you ain't gonna do X, Y, Z, then I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire, make it more worse, give more talking points to the people who you're running against that you are in fact racist. Because I need that money for my community. That's why I be sitting there, I be thinking so often, should I run for fucking Congress? I be thinking a lot of things. Should I run for a lot of things? But then I just go back and be like, I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go back to the broadcast. We're going to spend another 30 minutes over here on Twitter, simulcasting these conversations with you guys. Greetings from Germany. How you doing, Germany? I love y'all in Germany. I've not been back. I was in Frankfurt. I just got to stop this airline shit because I don't be liking to travel that far anymore. I used to travel Japan, Germany, all over the place, France, England, back and forth and back and forth. I was like, oh, I don't want to get on a flight. But I got a young 14-year-old. He needs to see the world. So I'm going to start back traveling around the world, doing shows, and then staying a few more days, take him with me so he can see the world. He needs to see the world. See my friend saying cheers. Okay. Wow. Hey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna bring back the broadcast from my Twitter. Again, if you want to speak on Twitter, you can always feel free to do so by going to Uncle Luke Real One on Twitter, and then you can put your hands up to speak. It's a great conversation. The conversation back to what it is the Republican Party racist?
By the way, and shout out to y'all for having this conversation. It could be uncomfortable, you know what I mean? I believe this era of Republican Party is racist because they are raised by the last era. I believe we are going through a 360. I don't know if you guys feel it, if you older, in the older generation, but it just feels like history keeps repeating itself on all of us. And maybe I'm going crazy, but there's no way that this is happening all over again in a different era. I feel like this level of racism, and I don't, just like Luke said, I don't believe it's all the party.
Now, when you say something's happening over again, what do you mean exactly? What's happening all over?
I feel like we live in a cycle. You know how, for instance, let me use a fashion sense right now as an example. Do you remember in 1985, right? When we used to wear jeans, the bottom of our jeans were tapered back in the 80s. Now you moving forward, these kids are wearing the tapered jeans now in 2023, or that should start, I think, in 2020, right? Down to the and I'm not trying to bring this up to ruffle no feathers. I'm using an example.
No, you can ruffle feathers over here. This is a free space.
Thank you, Poppy. I got you. Down to where in the 70s, where the LGBTQ community was always under attack to blindside the racism side of things. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like we keep reliving an ugly circle, and it just seems to me like it's like a playbook or some shit. You know what I mean? I also feel like the great example that Luke said as far as DeSantis is concerned, for a lot of our generation in New York City, it was Giuliani. You know what I'm saying? That kind of racism started with Giuliani and the stop and frisk and all the shit that he was doing in New York City for it to continuously give a bad rep to anybody that was down with the Republican Party at that point. So I feel like this was building up. Like this is all building up. Like this was an agenda that they've been had in play for quite some time now. But I'm also one of those individuals that I can't stand any party right now. I just feel like nothing's for the people. And I feel like until we get back to that point, until people, because nobody feels safe. There's 1,000 people going through PTSD because of whatever happened with Trump, because they felt like they were going to be, have to get deported. And there were so many different emotional, mental games within this political party, all of them at this point. It's a crazy mental game that does affect everyone. So I just feel like at this point, like the gentleman said, every party has a racist. You understand? But the only party that's been kind of standing 10 toes down with certain individuals that have been obvious about it, that's where my concern comes in. Like, it's obvious wrong. but for whatever reason, it's being supported. And
So
that
can you be specific? No, you good. Can you be specific though? When you said that you see things are going in a cycle, and you gave some example, I'm saying, what exactly do you see going in a cycle? What specific thing?
I feel like we went through all this when it started with Reagan. I feel like we went through all this when Bush was in there. I feel like went through all
going through what though? You talking about the same political cycle? What exactly?
The political cycle. Yeah, I feel like it's just a cycle that keeps, like, we can't get out of it. I don't know if it's because they're older individuals within Congress, or older people are still making these bills that are not working for a generation that are maybe just getting to their 50s, and the generation that maybe just be reaching 21, or whatever the case may be. But these old school rules and this old school teaching that if you keep the brown and black people in place, and this is the type of stuff that I just feel like has become obvious, but it's only obvious to like older individuals that may have been following the situation. I feel like we do have to vote, but it gets harder because you want to see the results. And I don't feel like we've been seeing some real results that will help Black, brown, Latino people of all color. I feel like we're only seeing for white. We're seeing what works for the tax brackets. We're seeing we're not seeing anything that's for the people, by the people at all, since Lord knows when. Young Lords and Black Panthers working together, who knows? We haven't seen it in so long. So for me, do I feel like the whole Republican Party's racist? No, but the ones that are running right now, they doing a lot right now. So that's just my input. I just wanted to, hit and run, and shout out to letting me up, and thank you for having this conversation.
Hey, we appreciate having you. Let me ask you a question before you go. You're Latino, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When you hear the Democratic Party speaking to Black and brown people, then obviously that's Black folks and Latino folks. And you don't hear the Republican Party speaking toward Black and brown people. Do you still tend to give what you I ain't saying giving them the Republican Party a pass, but do you still entertain their conversation?
Hell no. They don't get passes. They don't get an entertaining conversation.
That's why, I live obviously in Miami, and majority of the Latinos in Miami vote Republican, and they love Trump, and they love everything about the Republican Party, Ted Cruz and everybody else. And so it's kind of mind-baffling that most brown people tend to vote in that direction. But you're not.
I don't know. I'm in New York. The brown people, Latino people I'm around don't want him. They're not voting Republican, but I can't speak for everybody else's environment. Like, your environment where you grow up is way different than my environment right now, right? So in your environment, they might be pro this and anti that, where in my environment, they not with it at all. Like, they're not voting DeSantis way. They're not voting a Republican way on my side. But that's I can't speak for everybody. You know what I mean? But
right. Like do you think for brown people, and I'm just speaking as a brown person, do you think it's just a lot of talk? They just use the Black and brown people. It's not really nothing.
We haven't seen a result yet. Let's be real. A lot of talking and debating and things like that. But what bill can we say is so solid that went out there for the people? So it's like everybody, and respectfully, I'm going to say, everybody mouth matching their ass. The shit is talking. We get it. But it's like, can we get a result out of y'all already, so that we don't have these debates, so that we're not sitting here pointing fingers at other, generational curses that may have been passed on? So it's like, we need results. And that's, for me, that's important. I'm not going to vote for you because you in Democratic Party or you in Republican Party. I'm going to vote for you because you came with results. You stuck to your guns. You were for the people, and you were by the people, and you understood what the problem was. I don't expect perfect, but I expect results. So that's where I take this stance from.
Hey, I appreciate your comments. Who we are next? Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are broadcasting live over 3 platforms: Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and X. We have a lot of people down there want to speak. So some people, if you could drop down You could always come back up. We want to try to get as many people in on this conversation as possible. As you already know, Nikki Haley did make a statement. Where they asked her about a couple of times she had to deal with the issue of race, and she kind of dropped the ball. And I was amazed that the Fox commentator asked her about is the Republican Party a straight question? Is the party racist? And I think a lot of people go to is always, oh, we're for everybody, without answering the question. And so we're having this conversation and this good dialogue. Is the party racist? And that's the first thing I want to ask you guys before you start talking about anything else. Who do we have next?
I'm going to go ahead and drop down.
You got who was this speaking?
Oh, this Professor Arlon. I was just saying I'm gonna drop down so more people can speak, and I enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you, Professor. We might try to bring you back up to ask you one of those professor questions. Thank you for the information today. Go ahead. Who you got?
Okay, so so Luke, let's go with Sophia. I would be interested to hear what she has to say, since she is a MAGA conservative, and we are asking the question: is the Republican Party racist? So, Sophia, go ahead.
Yeah, that's good. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. I have to say that thank you, co-host, for having this space. It's about time that people start talking about it out loud. I am a MAGA Republican. I grew up in New York, and my father watched boxing all my life. I've seen Donald Trump at ringside, and every time he spoke and what he had to say, the fighters that he supported, the people that he rolled with, Donald Trump ain't nothing different from what I knew growing up. I'm 51 years old, and Donald Trump has been the same dude from the longest time. Hasn't changed one bit. Uncouth as hell. Doesn't hold back. He's the same dude. And I don't know if Luke, if you rolled in his circle to be able to bump fists with him or whatever, he's the same dude. And that's a different thing. The MAGA movement is a movement within the Republican Party. And is the Republican Party racist? The Republican Party ain't nothing but a bunch of policies and a bunch of committee men that vote their people in, and a bunch of congressmen and other representatives that get voted in. They're voted in by people that support them. Is there racist people in the Republican Party? Of course. Absolutely. That's why I'm all for MAGA, because we have to say that we're at the bottom end of the totem pole when it comes to self-respect and when it comes to outside respect. I don't expect anybody to respect me. I respect myself. And I'm going to do what I got to do for me at the end of the day. I'm going to have to do what I'm going to do for my people at the end of the day. And the one thing that I can say is that I can't speak to a Democrat platform because I've never been Democrat. My family has always been conservative, and my family was always broke. People used to be like, how are you going to be broke and be a conservative? And that's because it's the platform that I stand behind, and that is freedom, prosperity, and opportunity. If any party's going to deny me any of that, I'm going to be pissed. And I can say that from both ends. I've been denied the opportunity because I'm a loudmouth. I'm a loudmouth, and people they say that they can't control me. So the Democrats didn't want me to represent, and the Republicans didn't want me to represent. But that was in New York. New York is a whole completely different animal than Long Island. Even worse. Even worse.
Hey, let me ask you, what's the difference between a Tea Party Republican, a conservative Republican, and a MAGA Republican?
Well, the Tea Party, from what I know, I can only speak to my knowledge, they don't want government involved in any of their shit. They don't want to pay property taxes. They don't want to have any kind of their liberty infringed on. I would be they definitely for Second Amendment. Second Amendment is one of the biggest things and they don't want their Second Amendment rights infringed upon. And they want to, if you don't mind, if they do, and they don't mind if you don't, they want you to stay outside of their lives. But I've known many people that fly Tea Party flags, and I used to live in New York, and then I moved to Connecticut, which is mad blue. And the community that I moved into, I had no idea that it was going to be all red. And that's the community that has been the bomb.
Did you fly the Tea Party flag? Because obviously it was before MAGA. Were you Tea Party before you became MAGA?
I wouldn't say that I'm Tea Party, because government has to be responsible. But I'm not that far to the right to believe that you can just pull out guns if somebody coming up to your doorstep and shoot them. That shit that happened in Kansas City was bullshit. I don't believe that you have that right to just say that this is my property, I'm gonna shoot you. But I'm definitely going to say that, when it comes to MAGA, that's something that's completely different. When Donald Trump won, the first nigga that he asked to come in was freaking Steve Harvey. And I was like, no, not Steve Harvey. Please. He invited Steve Harvey because he don't know no black folk that's really going to be about that life to support us from his side. Then he got a lot of people that came up and stepped up, and then they all end up being, mad weak. I'm looking to see some of the FBAs for real. They can take over the party. The Republican Party is a platform. It's by people that put them there. So if you vote and you show up, if you're looking for precincts, if you go to the polls, they can't stop you from pushing down the door. And when they start to act stupid, every party president, every Republican president is voted on. They don't just walk up in there and take it. So if you go in 80 people deep to a club, that little country club that got like 6 people that's in it controlling shit in your area, and you say, we want a new president, they can't stop you. So the Democrat Party, they have their clones. They got people that's up in there playing games and leading people to believe that they got you. So then you end up just investing your faith in them.
What has
You're like,
well, let me
okay.
ask you, what has MAGA did for you?
For me specifically, I just loved seeing the opportunity zones, and that was a program that was already established and was built on.
Were you able to capitalize on the opportunity zones?
Hell no, I ain't got no money, but I saw my family benefit from what happened in Philadelphia. I've seen people that I know benefit from happening in Hartford.
Let me ask you, wasn't the opportunity zones designed for rich people, for Kushner and all of them, to not be able to have to pay tax in blighted areas?
Hold on. Well, I can say that I have some people that were developers. I don't know if I know at one point back in the day, dude from Louisiana, he was buying retail property in New York. Master P, Percy, he was buying a property in New York at one point, and he was opening up sports clubs. The opportunity zones were for people that can capitalize off of that. So there's a lot of people that buy depressed homes and flip homes and buy homes from people that are getting, losing on their taxes. A lot of them boys that I knew, but they were Masons, they took and they capitalized off of, but the opportunity zones are for areas. So they're talking about city blocks.
And that's why if you look it up, you will see his son-in-law, who's obviously a developer and a land grabber.
Yes.
He was the one that really capitalized off of it. But I always go back to if the people who support you, the people who vote for you, the people who put money in your campaign, you create policy for them. I'm not mad at that. That's just a game. So, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that those opportunity zones were created for African Americans. No, that was created to go into African American neighborhoods, the developers to go into the African American communities and to gentrify the communities. They weren't going there building houses for black people and renovating their houses and say you stay here. No, it was basically to push you out and take
but
your
it wasn't
property.
For the houses. It wasn't
and
for the
some
houses
of those zones
exclusively.
and some of those opportunity zones were in prime located areas, like in Miami, North Miami, which is probably 10 minutes from the ocean. That's not you consider that as an opportunity zone in a blighted community because
I'm
of the
talking about
development.
Hempstead, New York. So I can speak to Hempstead, New York, because I'm from Freeport. So Hempstead, New York, and I worked in the government. So I saw when it came to Freeport, wanted to write the grant. The grants were given to the governors, of course, and then the governors offered the opportunity to the different communities. And Freeport ended up not getting that opportunity because Cuomo and the mayor of Freeport were beefing. But for Hempstead, which is ran by all exclusively Black Board of Trustees, Black mayor, Black Board of Trustees for the school districts, they got that money too. They got that money, and the infrastructure is what that was for. So the opportunity zones weren't only for real property, it was for infrastructure contracts. Yes, I did see a lot of Black people that went in on the RFP to be able to win those contracts so that they could fix the sidewalks. That's what happened in a lot of places. Like Philly was real estate and infrastructure. But for Hempstead, specifically only based on what I know, Those contracts came before a black mayor, black board of trustees, and they're not racist, they opportunists. They are elitists. They weren't trying to get that money to nobody, and that was a place that was run by all Democrats. I'm still trying to see where that money went to fix them sidewalks. I'm still trying to see where that money went to fix those parks. So they got that infrastructure money, but they didn't. I'm trying to figure out why people ain't going, yo, y'all got that up. What, it was like $2 million just for sidewalks. You people got to pay attention to who's in the procurement. And of course, everybody step up and try to get them contracts. So they can't do nothing with RFP. And I'm going to land my plane, but for example, when Puerto Rico got tore up, Akon came through and went directly to Trump and was like, look, I could ignite all of Puerto Rico with his electrical or whatever it is that he's doing over there in Africa. He said he could light it up. But Trump told him it don't work like that. You got to go back to Congress. You got to put in the RFP to light it up again. And he didn't win, obviously. But these contracts is what it is.
Let me ask you, do you not have a problem with Trump when he does not denounce white supremacists?
I haven't heard anyone denounce it, but if he doesn't, of course I'm going to have a problem with it. But when white supremacy isn't something that's lifted up by white supremacists, it's lifted up by people that allow it too. And those people in Hempstead, the white supremacy was in the lawyers, it was in the contractors, it was in the party. And it's a lot of which, like I could pull off many layers, but the only thing that I could speak to is that challenging the authority and challenging the people that sit in the party. And the Republican Party is only racist because we have not walked up into that party and took it back. We have not walked up into that party and go to those party clubs and just show up. And I've seen bipartisanship. That's one of the main things that they'll use to bamboozle people, is say that we're working bipartisanship to make sure bipartisanly to work things out. That's all bullshit. And I only know it from working on the inside, and I can only speak to Freeport and Hempstead and New York because Cuomo was doing all the worst. He was doing all the worst. My friend, he was the one that supported Mayor Adams. I know a lot enough of people in the inside that know that I can say that it's not the party, it's the damn people and them elitists and those people that's up in there. But if the people want it, it's there for them to take it. The Republican Party right now, you got Scott Presser, white as hell, and he's doing the work and he's hitting up the GOP all the time and they're ignoring him. So it's not about the party being racist, it's about racist ass people in the party.
Okay, hey,
So
anybody got any questions for our resident mayor?
No, but I agree with her 100%. As a politician.
I have a question. I have some rebuttal.
Go ahead. You can rebut.
What about the Central Park 5? What about the housing discrimination against black folks in the 70s based on race? Get the fuck out of here talking that bullshit.
I can talk about the Central Park 5 100% because I was living in New York when that shit happened. And when they confessed, it was a confession. Everybody that I knew was up in arms about how these boys made us look bad. So everybody was on that train thinking that they did it because they confessed. Donald Trump not going backward and apologizing for putting that ad out.
You know how the legal
bullshit. He was supposed to apologize for that shit. He put a hit out on them young boys.
You know how the legal system works against our black young men and women.
I do, but this was a confession. We weren't in there.
Yeah,
this was I'm speaking about the confession.
Never seen racism.
Let me tell you something. I got two brothers and a whole half of a family that was selling drugs in New York. I'm not speaking from a place of privilege. I'm talking from a place of experience.
I'm not from a place of privilege either, but you're anti-factual. Get the fuck
oh my gosh.
out
I said based on my personal experience, and if I was delusional in my personal experience, that would be something else. But I was sitting there, Eleanor Bumpus. That was my best friend's grandmother, and Eleanor Bumpus definitely got shot up.
Have you read Project 2025?
I've read The Secret Relationship Between the Blacks and the Jews.
Have you read Project 2025? That's the Republican platform. I suggest you read it.
The Republican platform?
Before you say another word, so you know what the fuck you talking about.
inspectors. You have to look at the people that's working. And a lot of those people in the housing authorities that's accepting your applications is Black. And these are Black people that are getting their jobs. And they're not trying to compromise their jobs to take care of nobody or see any kind of injustice done right. That is every party. So if you're going to say it's not about being racist, it's about being selfish, it's about being stupid, it's about being ignorant. But racism, please, there's Black people that I know that have been hating whites and Palestinians in the community for the longest time. I'm just saying that racism isn't the problem, it's elitism. Amen. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to land my plane, but I'm just saying that is the party racist? It's only racist if you allow it. Go to the clubs. Sign up to the clubs. Elect the president of the clubs and run it. It is yours to run. They can't keep it from you. But if you let them have it, they're going to do what they're going to do, because not even Scott Presser, a white-ass, long-haired, tall-ass dude, can't get them to listen to him with over 1 million followers. And they're not giving him the time of day. So is it racist? Of course it is. To say America is inherently racist, I can say that. But I grew up listening to Don King talking about only in America. I've looked at Luke Challenge. Luke, you challenge our whole bullshit with censorship. I was there when they was out there. Was it Sheila Jackson? I'm not sure. When they was out there talking that bullshit, trying to censor you. I've been there. I'm 51, going on 52 by God's good grace. But the party is yours. Don't let people think that you can't get up in there and take it over, because that all is just coming in 80 people deep to their Republican club. And when they have their elections in January, put your nomination up and vote. Voting can work if you allow it, but they rely on us not doing shit. And a lot of niggas ain't gonna do shit, because whether it's Republican or Democrat, they gonna get theirs anyway. But we're not about that life no more, because these these invaders are coming in and they are looking to give them jobs. They're already giving them driver's licenses in New York. They're looking to get them voting. They're like, they can't rely on us no more because we voted Trump in the first time.
Oh shit. Okay, moving right along. Where we going at? Who we got next?
Let's go to Jay Scott, and then we got Dustin Mills and Hurricane. So
Go ahead, Jay Scott. Is the Republican Party racist?
What's going on? What's going on, Uncle Luke? Let's go Canes. Class of 2011 over here. So appreciate everything you've done for the city of Miami, Uncle
Yes, sir.
But yeah, as far as the question goes, is the Republican Party racist? I would say when starting this conversation, it's important to distinguish, between Republican voters and Republican politicians. So as far as Republican politics go and Republican politicians go, when it comes to improving the situation, for Black people, as a whole, they, have a ideology that's against creating policies that benefit one specific race. So if you think that Black people, suffered a specific set of issues that need to be corrected in this country, and you're going to the Republican Party to help you do that, then I think you're barking up the wrong tree. So that being said, yes, I do think the Republican Party is racist, and you can see that. At the political level, I should say, the politicians themselves, I do think many of them are racist. And like you pointed out earlier, Luke, as far as Ron DeSantis goes, he's a perfect example of someone who has taken critical race theory and turned it into anything that makes him or some people in the Republican Party uncomfortable with Black history. And now they're trying to, essentially erase Black history from the school books. And it's not just in Florida that's happening. You are seeing the same thing in Texas. So overall, yes, I would agree. Now, that being said, I really don't think the Democratic Party is that much better. And I think, the lack of progress on the systemic issues, despite everyone knowing what the problems are, is a perfect example of that, because you've had times when Democrats have had the presidency, the Congress, the Senate, and they haven't really done anything to address those problems. And one of the examples I like to go to, would be how the education system is set up. So if we know that redlining prevented Black people from, from Black neighborhoods, from, increasing in property value, and kept Black people, trapped in specific areas and kept those prices depressed, then obviously, we should have been able to figure out that a knock-on effect of that is schools in Black neighborhoods are going to be disproportionately underfunded. So, like that, America is the only developed country in the world that, funds its schools off its property taxes. So, between that and, what Joe Biden did, with the crime bill, in the 90s, I really don't think the Democrats are any better. In fact, what I would say is that if you look at what they've done most recently, it might be slightly off topic, but I still think it's relevant. They were funding neo-Nazis over in Ukraine, the Azov Battalion. So Joe Biden is quite, proud of that. So if you're funding neo-Nazis, you got to be considered at least a little bit racist, in my opinion. So I would say the Democratic Party is, just as bad, which is why, I would hope that considering the influence Black Americans have on the culture, of this country, I think culture is really what drives a lot of these political and social movements. And I'd love to see, people like you, Uncle Luke, advocating for Democrats to essentially boycott, like both of these parties. And I know you're a Democrat right now, so I know, it might not happen today, but I think, like
it might not happen today. No, it's not gonna happen today. Hey man, thank you for your comments. I really appreciate it. And go Canes. Who do we have next?
Can I rebuttal him?
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Okay, you're complaining about property taxes and the money not being spread around equally. That's a local issue. Biden can't come in and tell you have to spread it around equally. And you live in Texas. You know what they do here. They passed bond programs to get away with giving their extra funding back to the state so it gets spread around equally. Okay, I'm done.
All right, so go ahead. You want to respond?
You want to respond? No? Okay, who we got next?
We got Dustin Mills, then Hurricane, and then Miss Travian. And also, we need to start going to the hands because I see the request, so we might start to rotate some people out.
Yeah, if your hands is not up, then I'm gonna drop you down. So keep your hands up. Other than that,
all right,
that's saying you're gonna get dropped.
All right, so we're gonna go to Dustin Mills and then Hurricane.
Dustin Mills, let's go.
I say both parties have racism in it. Ain't just one party over the other. If you look at the history of the Democratic Party, I would say it's more racist than the Republican Party, but there is racism, but it is in the political elites on the Republican side and Democrat side. Ain't just a one-sided issue. Racism is embedded in both parties, but it's by the congressmen and senators and the political backers, the billionaires, whatever. And what makes me want you, Luke, I think, Luke, you should actually go and talk to Donald Trump. I think he will welcome you into the party. I think you can make some changes. Changes.
No. I'm okay. Ice Cube. No. In all seriousness, there have been quite a few celebrities that had conversation with Donald Trump, including Kanye West and Ice Cube, I think, and some other guys who, Lil Wayne and all these guys that have had conversation with him. He pardoned some guys. But outside of that, Kim Kardashian, I don't consider her black, but she is brown. But at the end of the day, I don't see things that they've gotten done other than Kim Kardashian and getting a few people out of jail who was not put in jail. But then, I think this is my opinion. My opinion is, if you live in America, you know the problems of America. Either you're going to ignore the problems of America, whether it's with black, brown, white, whoever it may be, folks in America. If you're just going to pander to power and you're just going, you're going to play emotional games with television networks, and networks are going to play emotional games and play on the minds of weak-minded people in America for political gain and for political power, because just like a lot of people have said on here, in my opinion, is the same. Both parties have racists in it. Both parties have races, and it's a big money grab at the end of the day. And they just put people against each other based on party affiliation. Or if you're in the Tea Party, you're in the Mega Party, you're in the Liberal Party, you're in the right, you're in the left. They just created all these narratives that at the end of the day put people against the other people, put people against each other for the money. At the end of the day, they're getting money. They're going in the office and making $60,000 and coming out millionaires. That's just unheard of. How do you sit there for years and you come out being a millionaire, in some cases billionaires, when they're getting money from these different special interest groups while keeping us against each other? I look at these TV shows, and you'll look at CNN one day and you'll be sitting there saying, oh shit, this commentator is liberal as hell. And then, but when he gets fired, the true color comes out of him that he's really racist. You know, and you'll see a guy on Fox. I see, and he'll come out, oh, he was just putting on a show. And they're putting on shows no different than politicians. They're putting on shows for certain people that they can energize, certain groups of people that they'll get gassed up and then go vote for them so they can get in office. And at the end of the day, nothing happens for nobody. Everybody gets bullshitted.
And Luke, another point you made, I think you just made a really good point, because I think a lot of times people don't understand that a lot of these people are in the same social classes and they're in the same places, and people on the outside who are looking at this think these people are mortal enemies when they're drinking buddies and they're golfing buddies. And it goes that way in the media, even in media. When I went to the correspondence dinner a few years back, and I saw people who on TV when Trump was in office, who I thought were mortal enemies, and they were over in the corner kikiing and drinking it with each other and everything. I'm like, damn. I mean, I knew it, but seeing it was a different beast, and that's real.
Yeah, they play the game. It's no different than two lawyers in a divorce case. One lawyer, he gets up there and screaming like, yeah, fuck her, and fuck him. The other lawyer, and they put on that beautiful show as if they're fighting for you. And then at the end of the day, then they go to the bar party, and all of them sitting up there, kumbaya. They go around, yeah, we really got those motherfuckers. We got that. And that's the same energy that they take. They make it seem as if they're fighting for you when they're really not fighting for you. They're really fighting for their pockets. They're fighting for the special interest groups that put money into their campaigns, and people get caught up with the bullshit thinking that, oh, they're really for me. And then nobody can say, what did they really do for you? You know, did they get the gas prices down? At the meantime, then they go from one war to the next war, and they're taking the money, whether it's Bush pushing a whole war, creating a damn war so Halliburton can make all the money, Cheney and all them make bags of money, and then Biden is in a war, and then the people that are on the other side, they say, oh, Biden got us in a fucking war, and we're in a war. But yeah, you forgot, Bush had us in a war too, and the daddy had us in a war, and we got out of the war, and who's making money out the fucking war? The contractors. The contractors are building this military shit that's going over to the war. Somebody getting money. And then it becomes, okay, we're living in this country, and the prices, why is the prices going up at the pump? Why is the prices, my grocery prices are going up? But then I can get on the airplane and go to fucking Colombia and buy that same steak, that same chicken, feed 30 motherfucking people for $25. How in the fuck does that happen? In a damn near third world country, how their prices are lower than the prices here in America. But because we're so separated as a people, and we get caught up with the bullshit looking at that idiot box, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, and they're putting people against each other. And then we have idiots like DeSantis running around. He just throws fuel on the fire, and people like that. And then you got the Trumps. And then, so again, the mass majority of people are easy to be influenced in this country. Meanwhile, we're getting fucked. Because when you leave this country and go to other places, you will find that them people are living just good. They're living fine. The cost of living ain't out the fucking roof. You can take your money here and you can go over there and you be like, damn, I can buy all this shit for $1,000. The $1,000 is back worth $100,000. How the fuck does that happen? But yet and still we sit here and we bicker.
Well, we know each other. You mind if I rebuttal? Be the Republican
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
correspondent on the panel?
You can
Like,
rebut.
I'm a Republican, you know that, but like
I ain't know
look,
that, Eddie.
Yeah, I'm a Republican. I'm born in Brooklyn, New York. I'm mixed. I'm part black, part Puerto Rican, part Hispanic, part white. I'm part everything. If you need my card, I'll send you my DNA. But here's the thing, and I'll be a Republican correspondent. I just find that Democrats, especially Democrats of color, they just have Trump racists just flow from the lips so frequently. And DeSantis is a racist from the lips so frequently and easily. But yet Biden, we kind of hide that one back a little bit. We kind of like quiver a little bit because it's not supposed to be that. But here's the thing. One thing I don't like about the Democrat Party is that it's the big tent party, meaning that I'm going to use all these subgroups and these small groups to get elected. So I'm gonna wear kente cloth when convenient. I'm gonna say Black Lives Matter when convenient. And then when I get elected, that shit just disappears. It disappears. Why? Because they don't care about you. It's a plight to get elected and to preach socialism and for all of us to have a little handout and to shut up. And that's what bothers me. And to me, that title should say, is the Republican or Democrat Party racist? The problem is we say Republicans are so racist so easy because we're taught to. And it becomes almost fashionable to say that. When in reality, we had a guy that's in the White House that used to say he didn't want his kids to become confused in a confusing jungle because people of color would have went to school with his freaking kids. Are we kidding right now? Let's not pretend that the guy didn't say that the Grand Cyclops of the Ku Klux Klan in 2010. This wasn't 1968. He does the eulogy at his funeral. Like, we're pretending that the guy in the White House isn't a screaming racist from the top of the rafters. But we say so easily about Trump, and then we try to dive into rental history and do stuff like that, when the guy literally has headlines calling it like a jungle for his kids to go to school with people of color.
I don't even think that we should be talking about racism. That's what I think is off kilter about this space right now. If anything, we should be talking about how we can use racism to our advantage. I am a conservative. I was a hardcore Democrat just as hard as I am a conservative right now and never knew why I was a Democrat. All we do is talk about racism when really what we should be talking about is economic growth, getting the bag because the bag is out there. We have no idea because we are so stuck on that one word that there is a whole sect of the country that is willing to collaborate and grow with Black America because they all just want to be Americans. And as soon as we get over the racism part, we're going back to Central Park 5. We're talking, no, this is about progress. This is about economic wealth, growth, prosperity. We are not talking about that. Why are we even talking about racism at this point when...
Hey, I got to respond to... Let me respond to that real quick because I've been trying to set up the mic and just co-host, but I got to say this. You cannot talk about progress and you cannot talk about these platitudes about everybody wants to be American if you do not address anti-Blackness and anti-Black racism in America. That is the bedrock of this American society. Whether you want to admit it or not, whether we want to talk about it or not, that is something that is not going away, and that is an absolute truth if you talk about the fabric of this country.
Some of your mothers are racist, but you still coagulate with them, right? So let's be
No.
Some of our
No. We're not going to do that. I'm going to let you speak. But first of all, my mother's Black. But what I'm saying is this. If we're going to have this conversation, we have to approach it from a place of honesty, and we have to approach it from a place of historical honesty. The bedrock building block of American society is that the African or the African American or the Black belongs on the bottom rung of society or as an invisible part of society. That doesn't say that that's not the way things are now, but I'm saying you have to get into the psyche of this country, and the psyche of this country, the societal hierarchy of this country
Getting hot in here, huh?
Whether by law or whether by custom, that the African and the Black is automatically at the bottom rung of society. We just have to be clear about that, and then we can build from that. But we can't not talk about it when those effects from 400 and 500 years ago are still here. That's all I wanted to say. You got the mic. Go ahead.
Is there anybody want to rebut what Eddie had to say?
I want to jump in here, Luke, because I think
I wasn't finished before he interrupted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let her finish, and then
I have a different personal experience.
Go ahead.
Because my great grandfather killed his slave master, cut his throat. He did that for a reason. So I was born free. My mentality is different. What I want to share with everybody is when you look at things differently, your life changes. If we get past looking at the historical elements of slavery, because we all know it existed, we all know what happened, we don't need to be reminded, we don't need the trauma. What we need is a new education on economic growth and development so that we can talk about things with conviction, so we can have power on the playing field. These are the things that I would wish, I pray for Black people to understand. We got to let some things go. Let some things go so you can get some things. Because while you hold on to all this, you're missing all of the other. And that's what I want to share. And I promise you, I am out here on the front lines fighting for the freedoms of every American. I am a co-defendant in the Fulton County RICO case with President Trump. I am dealing with I am willing to put my life on the line. This is not about Republicans. I'm a conservative. I don't confine myself to any of that. And the Republican Party is dead. There is now only Donald Trump. That's what I really want people to know. There is no Republican Party. DeSantis decided he wanted to divide it when he thought he could come in and Trump. Didn't happen, is not going to happen. We have to realize what the fact is. We want to talk about Joe Biden. We're not talking about how the Congressional Black Caucus, waded the waters for him and he wouldn't even talk to them for 3 years until now it's time for re-election. We have to pay attention to the gutter of what's happening, and it's not about a party. It's about policies. So if we want to talk about policies, look at what Trump is doing with this immigration situation. He was the first and only president to have a plan for Black people, which has never happened. If anybody ever looked what the Platinum Plan entailed, I can help you with what those details are. But these are the research that Black people have not done. I guarantee you, 80% of Black people don't even know why they're Democrats. So what we need to start focusing on is pushing a bigger and better education for Black people to understand that there's more out here to focus on than racism. And I will yield the floor.
Who we got next? Thank you. Anybody want to rebut that? You want to move on? Go ahead.
I just want to jump in.
Go ahead.
I just want to jump in real. I just want to jump in real quick. This Hurricane, man. I just want to jump in real quick because the title of this Spaces is the Republican Party Racist, right? And I think everybody so eloquently explained that like every party has like racism embedded in it, and they have racist people within the party. Like, I guess I'm growing sick and tired of talking about whether a damn party is racist or whether it isn't racist. Like, we get stuck on these same fucking talk tracks, right? And it's like we're doing the same song and dance over and over again and expecting different results, right? Like, is this racist? Is that racist? Like, we got to understand that there's a different game being played, and the game ain't being played. Like, we got to know if we want to survive in this country, guess what? You're gonna have to interact with racist people. You do it every day when you go to work. Right? There's people at your job that got different political views. Probably your boss is a Bible-thumping conservative Republican. We don't know that shit. But at the end of the day, we put our differences aside, right, for a commonality, for a common goal, whatever that may be at your place of work or at your place of worship or whatever, right? And so my whole deal is like, we got to stop talking about whether something is racist or not. And we got to move towards the conversation of who's going to further the agenda, not only for you as an individual, but for you and your family, for you and your community, for you and whatever ethnicity and nationality that you subscribe to. That's the conversations that we should be having, right? Because when you look at, I'm going to ask a question. When you look at both the Republican and the Democratic Party, which particular party has furthered, quote unquote, the agenda of Black and brown people, if that's what we're talking about here? right? Like, I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm just saying, like, these are questions that we truly have to ask. Like, which party has put us in a better situation, right? Because we keep coming here talking about whether somebody care about my race or not. Like, dog, we gotta truly understand. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody's answering whether or creating policy because you're black or brown. They have what they call super PACs. America's ran on money, right? So these people are answering to who? The people who's funded their campaign. They're creating policy. I've been a part of this where these people put in millions of dollars and they lobby to get certain policies passed, right? So if you want to play the game, you gotta know that it's an economic game. Let's stop talking about fucking race and racism, even though here's my deal, because I don't want to be remiss of the historical nature of racism and how it has affected, more particularly, people that are descendant of slaves in America, right? And also how that sort of morphed into racism to brown people. And, you know, we can go on and on and on about that, right? But what I want you all to truly understand is the game is economic at this particular point, right? We can acknowledge the history of racism and how it has affected us, but we can't keep sitting on the sidelines whining about what's going on in America if we don't want to get in the game, dog. Like, we coming in these spaces in 2024 questioning whether a party is racist or not. Like, we all don't know that shit is true. Like, dog, get over yourself. It's a part of it. America, any country that you go to, you're going to have dickheads and assholes in it. All right? So how do we work together to further our agendas, right? To get to where we want to go, not only as individuals, communities, and as an ethnicity, nationality, however you want to identify, right? So that should be the question. Where do we go next? Fuck racism. It is what it is. We know it's there.
Yeah, I'd love to answer that in 3 sentences, and I'm going to shut up. I think we go to what party allows us to succeed the most. What party allows us to grow our personal business the most. We talk about things like, you know, minority-run businesses and things like that. But you got to ask yourself, who's creating that environment for us to succeed the most? The reason I'm a Republican is because I don't want people trying to like talk down to me that I need their handouts in life to make it. I just want them to clear the path for me to create. And that's where I'm at. Like, I see these people and all they do, like you said, Hurricane, they just want you to like vote based on your skin color. And like, I care for you more. I care for you more. The identity politics of it is disgusting to me. It's disgusting. Just clear the path. Let me succeed by hard work. Just like you did for your kids. I just want to succeed. Get out of the way. Stop pretending that you care about me. And then you pretend you care about this one and that one. And we're all, that just annoys me.
All right, Luke, you want to move on, or did you want to throw another question up?
No, I think we have some good dialogue. I think this is good stuff here. You know, maybe it is time to pivot to what are you trying to get out of the party. But I think I want to get to some of the other hands before we pivot.
Gotcha.
If there's anybody want to rebut anything what anybody said, you could always remember you could rebut without putting your hand up. Just go ahead and rebut. Just wait for them to finish talking. But at the end of the day, we're having good dialogue. And once you finish talking, if you don't have anything on the next couple minutes, go drop down and then come back up, because we got people trying to get up here and speak. This is a great conversation. Who we got next?
Interjection. We got Rose, then Art, and then we got Jessica Sun.
Go ahead, Rose, Art, Jessica Sun. Then we're gonna go to Trucker, and then after that, then we'll pivot. Go ahead.
Can I have a quick rebuttal? Is that okay?
Yes. Anytime you want to rebut, just wait for them to finish talking. You know how to put your hands up to rebut.
Yeah, now, I want to make it clear. I'm not being pejorative. I'm just clarifying something that I forgot the sister's name, but she said something about her family turned on the slave master and killed him. Why am I rebutting this? Well, how do you make decisions? The smart way to make decisions is based off of facts, based off of information, right? One of the big problems with the the black community is that we make decisions based off of emotionalism, how I feel about something. We need to stop doing that. So let's look at the facts. According to Dr. Howard Zinn, the sister said, basically, I'm paraphrasing her, but she said that her family, she doesn't have the same information we do. Her family turned on and killed the slave master. Well, Dr. Howard Zinn said slave revolts in the United States were not as frequent and large scale as in the Caribbean or South America. Probably the largest slave revolt in the United States took place near New Orleans in 1811. 400 to 500 slaves gathered after a rising at the plantation of Major Andre, armed with canes, knives, axes, clubs. They wounded him and killed his son. That's rare. So a lot of us have a different history. So we have to look. What I'm trying to say is we need to look at the overall average of our experience to drive a decision. What I've seen most of my career, most of my young adult life, is my community making huge decisions based off of emotionalism. Last thing I'm gonna close on is race. I want to make everybody in the room aware that the United States of America, which was colonized by England, by Europe, basically, was predicated on race. What do I mean by that? Like Dr. Claude Anderson says, race is racism. What do you mean here? What I mean is, I wrote a book and I found Christopher Columbus's diary. In his log, he said they brought us parrots and balls of cotton and spears and many other things, which they exchanged for glass beads and hawks' bells. They willingly traded everything they owned. They were well built with good bodies and handsome features. They do not bear arms and do not know them. For I showed them a sword and they took it by the edge and cut themselves out of ignorance. They have no iron. Their spears are made of cane. They would make fine servants. With 50 men, we could subjugate them all and make them do whatever we want. Race was the name of the game from the beginning, because in Europe, to be royalty, you needed royal blood. People from Europe, a faction of people from Europe wanted a place where they could be royal because they couldn't be royal in Europe. So royal blood turned into race, turned into color. That was the name of the game from the beginning. And like Professor James Small said, history erases the mystery. So I'm sorry, I'm very sorry, but you cannot eliminate race from the equation, this American equation. I'll land my plane.
All right, so we'll go to Rose, then RX, and then Jessica Sun.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak, give me the opportunity. This is a really great, productive discussion that you're all having. I love the way that the panelists are being respectful to each other and talking. Here's the thing. I'm still an independent voter. I voted for Trump the last 2 times. I'll vote for him again. And here's my theory on that. He plays the game along with being both, especially for being a New Yorker. I'm from Connecticut. He plays the game of understanding that in politics and to get anywhere, he has to play this game of being a Democrat and being a Republican sometimes. Although he's basically going in as a Republican, he's not one. He's not part of that uniparty, and he's going to take it down. That is why I strongly believe in the MAGA movement. Now, the MAGA movement has really very little shot unless we could get the independent voters. And that's why a lot of people are saying we need to have, and we're basically, especially when I listen to the Black community, we're basically asking the same thing, those of us who are in the MAGA movement, that you're screaming for. We want our voices to be heard, the people, not the elitists, not the uniparty that funds everything and runs everything through banks and everything else. It runs from our state government to our local government. And unless we could all unite within that, in that movement that it's for the people and not the elitists, that the same old thing is going to keep on happening. We have to find a way. And I think we all know the same thing. That's what I'm bewildered by. And I understand there's racism. I do. I get it. I actually became more and more alarmed as I heard more and more in spaces of different people. And that goes all around, even towards religions. And it's their way of the media and everything else. I think that Uncle was talking about, that they're trying to divide us even more. And we're letting them win by doing that. You know, I'm a teacher. I see the way in bureaucracy money gets thrown down from the federal government with all this money that comes from the federal government. This is what I'm talking about. That's supposed to come down to our local government for our kids to get the proper education they're supposed to get. Does it happen? No. It doesn't, because all that federal funding goes to the state, and then the state hires all their bigwigs, and the government gets bigger. And then from there it goes to the local. And we have a bunch of bigwigs in central office, not in teachers, not in more people in the classroom with your child, but in central office. That's big government, and that's what the Democrats.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're having a conversation over 3 platforms. This is the first time I ever did this, where I'm broadcasting on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I was going to run it up to an hour and a half and then shut down this portion of it so that when folks are listening to the looking at the actual broadcast, then they'll be able to be like, oh, cool. So, we're going to be doing this on a regular basis where we'll have these broadcasts on here to be able to have you guys to listen in, because I do on occasions I do a lot of Instagram, not Instagram, but spaces. I do a bunch of spaces on on Twitter, which is X, and we have some good topics and some good dialogue. So what I'll start doing is streaming it through Facebook, streaming it through the YouTube channel, and you guys can be able to replay it if you're working out or anything like that, or you'll be able to just log on and listen in. Remember, you want to follow me, you could always follow me on Twitter, Uncle Luke Real One. Excuse me, got a little cold, trying to get over. You can always follow me on Uncle Luke Real One Twitter, Uncle Luke Real One Instagram, where I post a lot of these things at. We're going to have more dialogue about politics, sports, entertainment, and politics. Sometimes we're going to have some guests to come on to enjoy the broadcast and the show and everything like this here, and be able to talk to them about some of the issues and some of the things that concern them on a daily basis. Hopefully you guys liked this. I think it was some great dialogue, and we had a good time on here. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. That's all about. It's all about communicating. It's all about, having dialogue, having just constant communication about different topics and things that affect everybody on a daily basis, and letting people voice their opinion. And I think we did that great today, and folks had a good time. And I would like to thank you guys for engaging in the broadcast. And again, we're going to continue the conversation over on my Twitter, Uncle Luke Real One. Again, peace. I love y'all. We're going to end this broadcast throughout these platforms here, and then continue the dialogue on Twitter. Thank you.